Hello, hello, and welcome to the Magic is in You podcast, episode number 11. I am so grateful you are here today. This podcast is designed to empower badass, growth-seeking women to truly tune in, tap in, turn on the magic that is within inside of them, turn on their light, allow themselves, empower themselves to shine their light, taking brave, bold action towards creating and cultivating a life that lights them the fuck up from the inside out. My name is Kelsey Holmes, and I am the life and mindset coach behind the Magic is in You podcast. I am so grateful you are here today. I'm so excited you're here today because today I'm just super excited to share with you, connect with you, to get to know you a little bit better. I would love to know your feedback about today's podcast or the rest of the podcast. Go listen to episodes 1 through 10 if you haven't already. I'm super excited. I'm going to be having some really incredible guests on here very soon. So hold on, beautiful interviews, connecting with other growth-seeking, amazing, powerful women entrepreneurs. I am so fucking excited because this helps everybody rise, right? When the tides rise, all the ships rise. Let's allow ourselves to collectively help each other grow, help each other expand, help each other reach our goals, cultivate these lives that we're so lit up living. Because for so long, women haven't been able to do that. Something that's kind of got me in the feels today. I saw this really powerful video that one of my Instagram friends who I've never met in person, but she is training for a marathon. So she shared this little story about, it was just like the New York City Marathon or something like that this past weekend. One of those marathons. I think it was the New York City Marathon this past weekend. And she shared a reel that was, it's like a huge, big reel. It's in my stories today if you want to go check it out. But she shared a reel that said it wasn't until 1972 that women were medically cleared to run a marathon. And it's got this picture of I can't remember her name, but the first badass, fucking incredible, powerful, paving the way woman running, I believe it was the Boston Marathon in this photo in 1972. And men are literally like trying to tear her down. There was so much upheaval about this powerful, incredible, brave, courageous woman running a fucking marathon because she was a woman. And thinking about 1972 really wasn't all that long ago, right? Like my folks were alive. I'm sure your folks were alive. If you weren't alive, 1972 wasn't that long ago. And so being able to cultivate badass businesses, cultivate lives that light us the fuck up from the inside out is literally paying homage to these women who have gone before us, who have literally been torn down physically, emotionally, and like verbally in every way possible by society. We live in a day and age where the thing that holds us back the most is ourself, which is kind of what I want to talk to you about today. I was sharing that little reminiscing or like realization that it wasn't that long ago. Oh, the New York City Marathon this weekend. So the first woman to run a marathon, squirrel brain. The first woman to run a marathon was 1972, medically cleared, legally allowed to run the marathon, right? And this past weekend, 24,740 some badass, powerful, empowering, growth-minded, just like incredible, inspirational women ran the fucking New York City Marathon, which is just such a powerful testament to growth, right? It wasn't that long ago. And now today we've got so many women who are breaking the mold of what used to be deemed medically unsafe by society to participate in. And I'm sharing this today because, like I said before, oftentimes we are the ones who are holding us back, who are holding us chained back to these old narratives of what we think is possible for us in our life, what we think we're deserving in this life, what we think we're worthy of in this life, what we think we are capable of in this life, what we think we're smart enough for in this life. And I know this so well because this is something that I have grown through over the years, over and over and over again, believing that something's not possible for me, believing that I wasn't smart enough, that I couldn't figure it out, that it just wasn't for me. And then still bravely taking action towards overcoming those limiting beliefs, and then boldly and bravely taking action towards cultivating what I desire. Even this property where I get to call home, even this fucking podcast that I've gotten 11 episodes in. I'm so fucking proud of myself for figuring out the tech, for figuring out the backside, for taking the time, the energy, the cultivation of this podcast so that I can connect with you and other growth-seeking women who are here to break the mold, break the stereotypes of what is possible for us as fucking women in business, in life, in joy, in bliss, in happiness, in relationships, where we can powerfully show up in our life, our business, our relationships, and really cultivate the lives, the relationships, the businesses that we fucking love authentically, from a place of our authentic love for ourselves. So I have a little reading for you today. And this reading I actually shared at my very first yoga class that I taught. This was back in 2017, December 3rd, 2017, in this beautiful old, like early 1900s yoga studio with hardwood old floors and brick walls. And you walk into the studio and it's got these big, beautiful, like 12-foot ceilings with tin on the ceilings. You can feel the history in there. And as I nervously and anxiously walked up to my mat at the front of the room with 25 people, I have a couple of notes in my hand, and I've got my notebook, my yoga teacher journal that I bought at the very beginning of my yoga teacher training. And at the top of my little papers, it says, have fun, smile, and breathe. So as I sit down, I take a moment to breathe, smile at everyone, and I invite everybody to sit down with me. And at the very beginning of that practice, after we all took a moment to arrive on our mats, closing our eyes, feeling into the breath, got everybody settled, and I read them this little poem or writing that I'm going to share with you today. It says, an old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight. It is a fight between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, lies, false, and pride. The other is good. He's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, gratitude, appreciation, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a moment, and he then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee replied, the one you feed. And so this writing that I just shared with you is actually the one that Nate, my hubby, found for me. He found it a couple days before I was supposed to teach my actual yoga teacher training graduation class. This is the class that I actually read this writing, the first time at. And I was so grateful that he found it, because this planted the seed of what I've grown into today, not just as a yoga teacher, but also in the way I think and feel about myself, because this was just before I was introduced to thought work and subconscious mind and understanding how the subconscious, how our thoughts create our emotions, which create our actions, which create our reality. I hadn't quite dove into that world yet and understood thought work or mindset work or subconscious programming at a way nearly that I do now, 7 years later, having totally dove in after this point. And so this planted the seed, like I said, of really becoming intentional about what wolf I was going to feed, what thoughts am I going to feed? What am I going to feed in my life? It was kind of that first seed of being planted, like where energy goes, or where attention goes, energy flows. It was those first couple seeds that really were planted in my mind. And then when I first learned about thought work, like I've shared on this podcast before, it was like one of those moments where all of a sudden I learned that the earth was actually a sphere. It was actually round. It wasn't flat. And I wasn't going to fall off the edge of the earth. It was like that kind of mind-blowing realization that I could control my thoughts, that I could eliminate and overcome subconscious limiting beliefs. I could actually like transform and create and cultivate a life that lights me the fuck up from the inside out. One where I can actually take charge of my income and my day-to-day life by cultivating my own businesses. Now at this point, years later, I've owned 4 businesses since, and I still have 3 of the 4 going. I've closed one business, exiting massage therapy after I had started that business during making connections in my yoga teacher training. Anyway, it's amazing how much we can transform in a matter of not really all that long, not just as a person, but also as a society, right? It wasn't that long ago, 1972, that women were medically cleared to run a marathon. And now we have tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, hopefully, of badass, powerful women running marathons across the world. And just like that kind of transformation, we get to cultivate that transformation within ourselves, because that's where it starts, right? Like if we can't get along with ourselves, let alone the people at our dinner table or the people in our community, how are we supposed to get along as a nation or a world, right? It starts with us. It starts with the relationship with ourselves to create global change, to create global transformation, to create fucking transformation in your life, in the lives of your loved ones, in the lives of your community members. It really does start with us and elevating our relationship that we have with ourselves. And so this summer, Nate and I were at an art show. We did a couple of art shows in Whitefish, Montana, and it's right downtown in the city park, Depot Park, right by the train station, which is one of the many stops along the Great Northern Rail Line, like the northernmost rail line in North America, in America. The lower 48. Anyway, so we were right downtown at the train park, Depot Park, and we had our yellow booth with all of our steel artwork in there, with our steel mountain coat racks and some fun, funky art on the walls. We had our dining room table there, which is like a beautiful reclaimed wood and steel dining room table finished with epoxy resin for a smooth finish. We had our privacy screen with the beautiful dragonflies and paintbrush flowers and mountaintop ridge lines to showcase our steel privacy screens. We were all set up. We were hanging out for the weekend, and I got to run into one of my original yoga teacher friends. She was in my yoga teacher training with me 7 years ago, and we were chatting. She's actually now our accountant. She's a fucking badass. So if you need an accountant in the Flathead, let me know and I can point you in the right direction. Anyway, she is a badass fucking entrepreneur. When I was in yoga teacher training with her, she was like a solopreneur. Now she employs, I believe it's 17 other badass women accountants here locally. So she has cultivated this super powerhouse of women accountants, and she's just so much fun. I freaking love this woman. Anyway, so I hadn't run into her face to face in quite some time, and we were chatting at our booth, and she was looking around and checking out everything that I had been doing, and she just we're reminiscing about when I was a massage therapist, and she'd come before during tax season or right after tax season. And anyway, she was talking about, and she's looking around at all of our work and what we're doing now. And we're kind of just catching up after a while of not having seen each other face to face. And she takes a moment and she's like, wow, you've transformed a ton. And Nate, he's so fun. He's like, yeah, we sure have, which we have in our Creative Combinations Montana business, because we were also talking about that transformation as well. And I think part of what she was saying, though, too, was how much I've actually transformed since being in yoga teacher training with her. I'm a completely new person. I'm still the same person, but I've cultivated myself at a deeper level. I know myself deeper. I fucking like myself. I love myself. I appreciate myself. I have a loving, kind, caring connection with my body. I have a loving, kind, caring connection with my spirit, my soul, my energy. And that is completely different to who I was then. I have a huge heart. I just want to help people. That's how I got into massage therapy. That's how I got into coaching. That's how I got into hypnosis. That's how I continued to grow into yoga. That's how I also started off college trying to become a social worker and diving into sociology. And then hearing my professor tell some really horrific horror stories about his days as a social worker and deciding that it wasn't for me and feeling like such a failure when I switched degrees as a freshman in college because I didn't feel like I was going to be helping people at the level that I really wanted to help people. It wasn't until I found massage that I really could ground back into myself and ground back into that like desire to help people and really be able to actually do that. Anyway, I always wanted to help people, but it wasn't really until my mid-20s that I decided that I also needed some help. That's when I first went into therapy and didn't even tell anybody for the first 2 months I was in therapy. Was so nervous, so just had so much shame around it. Still now I preach it from the ceilings or from the skyscrapers. Anyway, in 2017, I had a huge heart and I had a deep desire to help people. And that's part of the reason I wanted to teach yoga, is yoga was so healing, helpful for me and my relationship with myself that I wanted to help teach and learn it at a deeper level. But I also wanted to help other people learn and get introduced to yoga and understand their bodies more. Yoga and massage were super helpful and healing for my relationship with my body and myself. And deepening this practice has really allowed me to expand my love for myself. And then getting into mindset, subconscious reprogramming, again, expanding deeper, getting into energy work and shifting energy and elevating energy has allowed me to shift even deeper. And so my friend from yoga teacher training really saw just how much I had transformed. And it was one of those moments where I knew I had transformed, but when you see it on somebody else's face, it kind of sometimes just hits you a little bit differently. When you see it reflected back to you from somebody who knows you fairly intimately, if you've ever done a yoga teacher training, you know how powerful the connection is with the other people in your yoga teacher training. We go deep, we get into it, we grow, we go through hard shit, we go through so many challenges, we watch each other courageously and bravely take action, uncomfortable action over and over and over again, teaching in front of others, getting up in front of the classroom, doing crazy shit we never really thought we would maybe do, but also expanding and loving ourselves through this. And so it was really fun to be able to see from somebody who knows me at a level that at that point in my life, very, very few people knew me at. Fun to see that reflection, because sometimes the change, the transformation that we desire to happen quick, that we want to happen faster, sometimes it feels like it's taking too long, but truly, really, it's all in this beautiful, perfect, aligned, divine timing. Just like this journey of becoming a yoga teacher and teaching yoga over the last 7 years in different capacities, both online and in person, both private and in group settings. And now just about to host my very first workshop here at Inspiration Cabin in a week and a half. I'm so freaking excited. If you want more information about that, if you're local, November 16th, there will be more information below in the show notes. Check it out. And also not just yoga, but combining all of this other powerful, energetic thought work, subconscious work that has helped me completely transform the way I think and feel about myself and thus everything else around me. My relationship with Nate has never been deeper. And we worked together and have worked together side by side for 4.5 years in Creative Combinations, Montana, our steel fabrication business, along with doing a 2-car garage into a single bedroom renovation with my parents, and now running Creative Hideouts, our little inspiration cabin Airbnb and hip camp RV pad with my folks, and just allowing myself to show up more authentically, more fully, but also just like from that grounded version of myself where I can still have boundaries that feel loving, that feel supportive for me and my being, without just being a people pleaser. It's helped me grow in my businesses. Connecting deeper to myself has allowed me to show up authentically, fully online. Just like you see, if we're connected on Instagram, you will see Meadowland, you will see Inspiration Cabin, you will see adventures out in the mountains, and the adventures that I embark on, growing myself, knowing myself, loving myself, exploring myself, so that I can be a better version of myself, so that I can be a lighthouse to empower other badass women to cultivate a life that lights them the fuck up from the inside out, loving themselves, knowing themselves, growing themselves, continuing to allow themselves to elevate themselves so that they can live this life to this fullest, because this life is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not fucking promised. And it wasn't that long ago that our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts, our sisters, our relatives, our fucking ancestors were not allowed to have this opportunity to expand themselves, to live their life intentionally, to live on purpose, to grow a fucking business. Shit, it was 50 years ago this year. My sister's a financial planner now, and she informed me that it was 50 years ago this year that women were finally allowed to open a bank account or credit card or get a loan without a man's signature. So fucking ladies, this is so important. We have the opportunity to create a life that lights us the fuck up, to live on purpose, with purpose, creating and expanding yourself. We get to get out of our own damn way so that we can actually make it happen. That's why I'm so excited to be growing the Magic is in You podcast, to be growing Elevate You, my one-on-one coaching program, and to be growing Inspired Magic, the current beta program running right now. There will be more opportunities, including I'm hosting a workshop mid-November, the 20th through the 22nd, to align your design with where you want to grow. As we're wrapping up the new year, or wrapping up the year, coming into this holiday season, allowing yourself to ground in yourself so that you can be grounded and at peace during this holiday season, and also still continue to take action towards where you want to grow. Allow yourself to plant the seeds, cultivate, nurture the seeds of where you want to grow for the next year, for 2025, but not just for the next year, but for your life. Because even though it's been 7 years since my yoga teacher training, it also feels like it's been like decades since then, because I have gone through so many versions of myself since that point. Shit, I opened and closed a massage therapy practice in that point. I opened 3 other businesses. I fucking got married. We went through a pandemic. We bought and sold our first fixer-upper. We bought a dream property. We've gotten 2 wild and crazy, amazing doggies. We had to say goodbye to many other dogs. And at the end of the day, we get this one life. We get this life to go full out, to live full out, to intentionally cultivate and create a life that you desire, to intentionally cultivate a relationship with yourself that you truly desire, to intentionally cultivate and create your business, your relationship with others, your part in society, your part in this existence of this wild world that we live on, this rock flying through space at a gazillion miles an hour, this tiny little speck of dust as far as the universe is concerned. And we get this time to live now. So what's it going to be, ladies? You ready to jump in? Are you ready to grow yourself? Are you ready to know yourself? Are you ready to expand yourself? What's holding you back? Take the leap, take brave, courageous action. And if you want more help overcoming your limiting beliefs, getting out of your own damn way so that you can powerfully step into your magic, turn on your light, shine your light, become the lighthouse that you desire to create in this world, to cultivate the badass business of your dreams, to allow yourself to grow into the best version of yourself. If you are ready for help along that journey, I am currently accepting a handful of one-on-one clients now until the end of the year. There's limited spots available. So I'd love to talk to you if you are interested in this at all. If this is your vibe, if this is your jam, going deep and getting into the nitty-gritty so that you can propel yourself forward and really cultivate a fucking wild, lit up, expansive year and life, then this is a great opportunity. I would love to talk to you. Reach out to me in your DMs or connect through the link below. And I would love to talk to you. I'm not going to bite. I'm just a person. Let's just sit down and chat and see how I can help you grow into the best, badass, magical version of yourself that you know is inside of you, that you know is there. And in love, light, and so much gratitude, thank you so much for being here. If this podcast was at all helpful or inspirational or sparking any sort of questions at all, please reach out. Let me know what you think. Rate and review 5 stars, please. I would so appreciate it if you shared this with a friend or left a 5-star review, as I am new here, still figuring things out. And like I said, we'll have guests soon. And in love, light, and so much gratitude. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace.